So we're going to take a look at Billie Ray Brandt, dating, men's wellness, positive masculinity. Does exclusively shorts as far as I can tell. We're going to take a look at those. Starting with the problem with black pill. Black pill being incels and MGTOWs, those who have just given up any hope of ever getting laid.
I do everything I can to empathize with men. I don't think masculinity is toxic.
I hate this notion that because there is a concept of something called toxic masculinity, that it refers to all masculinity. Like, there's a reason why the word toxic is a modifier there. If all masculinity was toxic, you wouldn't need a distinction. You would just say masculinity, and people would, oh, yes, of course. Toxic masculinity is toxic masculinity. Not all masculinity is toxic. And then even when it comes down to, like, what's the definition of toxic masculinity, there's going to be people who argue. What's an example? What's not an example? So, I don't know. Like, I don't know why so many people insist on just not getting that. Because it seems like it just hinders discussion, right? Like, if you want to say there is no such thing as toxic masculinity, period, okay, you can have that position. But don't act like people who do believe in toxic masculinity are saying that all masculinity is toxic, because they're not.
I think men are incredibly important and vastly underappreciated. I've heard every story to back up your obvious struggles in the dating world. But the one thing that I can't wrap my brain around is this black pill pessimism.
Lol, you're not a guy I'll never understand. We used to, but we gave up. I don't even talk to women anymore, and it's brought me peace. Even if you find a decent one, they have 30 other options at their fingertips anyway. Not angry. I'm done like half of all men. Get your money right, guys, and leave women behind. Don't need them. Don't want them. I mean, that is some serious fucking cope, right? I mean, if you don't need them and you don't want them, then why are you watching channels like this? Why are you so eager to hear a woman validate all of your bullshit? You wouldn't need that. You would just be off fucking stamp collecting or building model airplanes or something.
Where you permanently check out of dating. I really don't like to attack you guys because I already know the laundry list of fears. Women will cheat in a multitude of ways.
So we're arriving at her channel at a weird moment here. Because this is not her typical content, I can just tell by how she's talking. This is her actually saying something that she knows some of her audience will disagree with. And of course, she's couching it in as much sort of like you're still, like the same way Trump did after January 6th, where he had to like reassure his supporters that they're special and they're great. She's doing that right now. Like she's trying to give him a little like spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down.
They're selectively feminine and super entitled these days. The family court system is stacked against you. I get all that. But here's my question. Why are you letting women have this control over you? I sort of get it if you're an older guy who's already felt the pain of divorce and trying to raise your kids from...
You know, I gotta say, I think most of the time, in almost every instance, these black pill guys checking out of the dating scene is probably nothing but a boon for women. I don't think that there's a lot of women out there wringing their hands in concern about how these black pill guys have withdrawn from the dating pool. I don't hear a lot of women out there bitching and complaining. God damn it. Why can't I get myself a good black pill man? Like, I don't hear it. I haven't heard the call for it.
Afar. But if you're young and single, this doesn't add up. Checking out of dating basically means you either don't want a family, which if every man adopted your stance, the human race would go extinct, or
I mean, I guess there's always going to be a silver lining, right?
Or you plan on having children with women you don't date and don't love. And in that case, you'd be contributing to the fatherless daughter issue that I know you mock women for on these platforms. So staying single might bring some temporary peace.
Wow. So there's actually a little bit of logic in that. I'm impressed so far. I thought that this was going to be completely devoid of any sort of actual reasoning, but she is actually kind of calling them on their bullshit right now. They complain about all of these single women out there, yet they're not willing to enter into a relationship and step up and be a father.
But is that really worth a life of loneliness and no children to leave behind? All right.
I mean, you don't need a romantic partner to escape loneliness. You can escape loneliness through platonic friendships. It's horniness that you're really going to have a problem with. Hey, if you like this clip, you might like the full stream, which I do every Sunday, more or less, over on the Pessimist Productions Patreon, link down below. Thank you kindly.
If you're a man who doesn't want a relationship,
So this one is titled, You're Not Red-Pilled. And the red pill is, my understanding from an explanation I got earlier was that if the black pill guys are like, the game is rigged, so I'm not even going to play, the red pill guys are like, the game is rigged, but I figured out some workarounds.
you're a feminist. All of you black-pilled men who are insisting that you don't have to change, but rather the world around you has to change. You're no different than any other woke chick marching with a pink hat on her head. In fact,
I was sent this as though this was going to be horrible, but so far, at least these initial two, I'm not hating. Like, she brings a logic to the forefront. She's explaining her reasoning. She's making it clear exactly what her criticisms are in a way that is internally consistent with her logic. I get the feeling that I don't agree with her worldview, but she's presenting it in a way that is intelligent and erudite so far.
all those women who you claim are allergic to accountability, you're literally doing the exact same thing. I'll say it since your Reddit pals, your parents, your friends, and your brothers won't. Women don't like you because you're a bitter, lazy, and miserable loser. He's getting exactly what he deserves. If a woman...
I like her. I like her so far. This is called Any Man Can Be Attractive.
That literally any man could be attractive. You could be a 2 or a 3 out of 10 right now and be a 6 or a 7 above average in a matter of months. Not years, months. Take it from a girl.
Now, I don't know if that's 100% true. Every man that exists, and every woman that exists really, like if you place an emphasis on making yourself more physically attractive, you can accomplish it. Regardless of the hand that you have been dealt by genetics and facial configuration and jaw strength and anything else out there. There's always something you can do if that's where you want to put your resources and marshal your time. There's always something you can do to become more attractive. So that's true. The idea that a guy that's a 2 could go to a 6 or 7 or 8 in a matter of months, I find a little bit more dubious, but I suppose it depends on the exact nature of their problems.
Drop the hopelessness and do the following. First, you don't need to look like Thor to get a girl's attention. Just look good enough to catch our eye. Get in the gym and don't slack on the areas that literally shape your masculine frame. Don't skip the triceps, traps, and delts. These are the key areas that will help you fill out your shirts and make you appear more masculine.
I know that she doesn't want to say it, but the butt matters too. Like, don't skip leg day. Don't skip butt day. There are so many women out there that are obsessed with dudes' butts. Even if they have no actual idea why, right? They don't seem to actually have any intention of utilizing that butt in any way. I mean, granted, there are some girls out there that'll pull out the strap-on from the chest or whatever, but that's, you know, typically a lot of heterosexual women, they like butts. They have no intention of doing anything with the butt. They just like it. Don't skimp on the butt.
Please stop dressing cringe. The Justin Bieber look is just not it. You don't need to spend a ton of money to have good style. I'd rather buy a cheap pair of pants and spend the money on alteration.
I mean, it's decent advice, but you can't just tell people, and I get that there's limitations because you're doing shorts as your primary form of content, but you can't just tell people, go be stylish, because people don't know how to just do that, right? No one has I mean, some people have an innate sense of style. That's not true that no one has that, but people who are not dressing well, typically it's because they have no idea how to do it. Not everyone has my problem of being an absolutely gigantic, hulking fucking being that cannot fit into 99% of all clothes.
rather than some poor-fitting designer clothing. Women like guys that look put together and clothes that fit well. This makes them look more mature and higher status. The third is so simple. Get a haircut and style it. Go look up videos of how haircuts can change a guy's attractiveness. It is astounding. So stop using the below average excuse and start implementing these tips.
We are 3 videos in, and I have not really found all that much to disagree with thus far. Let's
What's
keep
up,
going.
my guys? Girls aren't attracted to you, and it's not because you're not 6'6" with a six-pack and a six-figure income. It's way
I have some of that going on.
simpler, and they're all an easy fix. Here's why you're turning women off. You seek validation. A woman doesn't want to do the validating. Are you constantly going through her phone because you're scared she's talking to another man? Are you still talking to other women because your girlfriend's validation still isn't enough? Are you allowing your girlfriend to walk all over you because you hope it will prove to her how much you're willing to change for her? You're weak and she'll leave you in an instant. You have no drive. A common misconception in today's dating market is that women expect you to be in the top 5%. You don't have to have a large income to secure a woman, but you do need to have the work ethic of one who does. Permanent contentness and regular dinners at McDonald's won't get you there.
Okay, so here's one that I think I could take a little bit more issue with. I don't really take issue with it specifically. I take issue with the limiting frame that she's applying it. Like, she's taking a little thing and looking like this, and it's like, no. The problem is that not just guys looking for validation from girls. The problem is human beings looking for validation from each other in the first place. Now, that's not to say that your friends and your loved ones and your contemporaries out there in the world cannot do things to validate you. Of course they can. Sometimes I'll be out in public and I'll see somebody. You know, it used to be when people just came up to me randomly, they wanted to, oh, you're the amazing atheist. Now they want to talk about this beard. They love this beard, or at least the ones who come up to me do. The people who don't like it probably don't say anything. But the people who like the beard, they come up to me and they compliment the beard and they say, oh, how long did that take you to grow? What do you do? Et cetera, et cetera. And other guys with beards are always just like, hey, man, nice. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you too, man. You too. You know, that kind of stuff. And that is validating and that's nice. But you cannot rely on someone else to be your source of validation. Not a loved one, not a significant other, not a friend, not a family member, whatever they might be to you. They can validate you to a point, but ultimately you have to have a sense of validation that comes from within. You have to be able to like yourself. And no amount of everyone else telling you you're the greatest is going to do that. I saw a very sad clip not too long ago of the lead singer of Linkin Park, Chester Bennington, performing at a live concert, and he was sort of doing that thing where they get up next to the barricade and they sort of partially fall into the crowd. They don't crowd surf exactly, but they just kind of let people touch them. And, you know, there were so many people just grabbing on him and touching him and just like putting their hands all over him, not in a creepy way because he's inviting it. And just like the amount of love and attention that was in that room and the amount of people in that, I mean, just a huge arena full of people that just love this guy. Think he's awesome. Think he's amazing. Think he's so talented. An arena full of people validating him. And he fucking killed himself. So doesn't that tell you that no amount of that is going to fill the hole inside? If you have some black festering chasm at the center of your soul, no one can fill it up but you. No one can fill that fucking hole other than you. You're the only one who can do it. Other people might be able to alleviate some of the darkness for a moment, but they can't be there for you like a life support system. That includes significant others. Men should not be looking for endless validation from their women. Women should not be looking for endless validation from their men. Men should not be looking for endless validation from their men. Women should not be looking for endless validation from their women. Non-binary people should not be looking, whatever. Whatever you are, whatever you're with, you can't expect them to be the ventilator that's keeping you going. That's way too much pressure to put on anybody.
Most girls won't admit this, but for your sake, I
This is called Nice Guys Suck. Let's see.
will. I hate nice guys. So let me help you out. Here are 3 nice guy traits to avoid. Stop sending exclamation points and emojis. Who am I texting? My best girlfriend? You're texting like this because you think it'll make you more relatable. I want a man. You can make me feel comfortable.
Real men don't use no damn emojis now. What's with all these exclamation points and emojis? Makes you feel kind of feminine. All right, so this is the first one where I'm just like, what is she talking about? But you know what? As a personal preference for her, fine. I don't care. If you don't like a dude that uses emojis, that's perfectly fine for you. But I don't know if that advice necessarily translates across the board. I also don't really see what it has to do with niceness. Like, a dude can't be a complete and utter dick bag and use emojis. I'm pretty sure he can.
Without giving me feminine vibes. Stop putting my needs before yours. Why do you think Chad is getting my attention? Do you think it's because I get what I want every single time I ask him for it? Do you think it's because every time I get upset, he apologizes or buys me something to make me feel better? Do you think it's because...
So the thing I don't like about this kind of content right here is that she's putting out her own personal preferences as like, this is the law. I am now speaking to you on behalf of all women everywhere. I am telling you what we want. And she might represent a significant chunk of women, but she certainly doesn't represent all of them. I guarantee you that there are plenty of women who are looking for a nice doormat guy, a guy that's just going to cave to everything they want all the time. There are women looking for that. Plenty of them. So this is not necessarily good advice. Honestly, I think that there's nothing more cringe in the world than a guy who you can tell is just like a little doormat guy trying to be the alpha, trying to be the sigma, trying to be the Chad, right? Because it comes across like a total farce. Everyone knows that's not the true nature of that guy. So really, you got to play to your strengths. And if your strength is not super assertive and full of confidence, then find a way to make your like more submissive nature charming. Play to your strengths and look for the women who want that. If there is a girl who wants a Chad, you're never going to get her if you're a fucking like whatever the opposite of a Chad is. A chud, I guess. You're never going to get that. Look for the girl that likes what you are. Emphasize those traits. Play to your strengths. Don't try to be something you're not. Because that is always, always, always going to be cringe.
Because he stays home from the gym or his boys' night when I tell him I don't want him to leave? No, compliments. Without meaning, that is. Calling a girl beautiful only goes so far. We know when you're saying it, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the most empty things you can honestly say to most women. Because if a woman is even remotely beautiful, she's heard that she's beautiful about 20,000 times. So it doesn't really mean much to her. If you're going to compliment a woman for the first time, one that you're interested in, you should try to find something about her to notice that not everyone would notice. You should try to find something that is a little bit outside of that sort of standard playbook of, oh, you look so good, you're so pretty. It means something to them coming from their partner. But coming from some random dude, it means virtually nothing. It's just, yeah. Heard it all before.
Because you think you have to. You make it lose its meaning. Whether it's your opening line on Hinge or a text you send me after meeting. This one does you no favor, Steve. It's just a slimy way to put me in a position where I can't respond negatively without being called an ungrateful bitch.
I mean, I think that's a pretty good summation of her personal preferences, and that's fine for what it is. But unless you're targeting specifically her, you might want to keep your eyes more towards the general.
Social media media is out to destroy men. It's no secret that men are visual creatures. And honestly, I see no problem with that. But the algorithms exploit this as a weakness to keep you on their platforms as long as possible. By only filling
All right, let's hear this.
in your following tab with IG models, you're feeding into the exact system that's making men weak today. My guys.
Yep. Well, she's got me pegged. Not literally. Not yet. I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with having primal physical attraction to women, but
Sure.
use that primal desire to attract real girls in real life, to become the man that won't accept a girl at face value.
Well, here's the thing. The real primal desire of men out there in the world is not necessarily attractive to women. A guy that's just like, oh my God, damn, oh, look at that ass, holy shit. I don't think that big ass chick is going to look over there and see that guy drooling and be like, ooh, you know what? You know, so I don't feel like that one works logically.
Value, and the man that women need to better themselves for. You have the ability to change your own algorithm, so engage with content that will actually serve you, because at the end of the day, your presence on this earth is to fuel the betterment of society.
I don't think there's any problem with filling your Instagram tab with giant asses. I've done it. I've not seen a deleterious effect on my life. I feel like it makes me happy to just scroll through Instagram and see giant butt after giant butt. It makes me feel a little feeling of contentment deep down inside, just knowing those giant butts are out there.
So you got the not feeling the chemistry text again. Well, here's why. Feminism has completely destroyed the confidence of men. You're afraid to even lean into your jokes, or even make them to begin with, because you're afraid of offending a woman. You're completely unwilling to acknowledge her appearance, or physically touch her because you're afraid of being creepy. And you're afraid of revealing interesting things about yourself because you think you're weird and have nothing to offer compared to that 1% man. In short, you're a nice guy, and nice guys don't stimulate women. So what's the solution? Simple. Start acting like a man. That 1% man energy is nothing more than
I mean, I don't really feel like they need to start acting like men. I just feel like they need to start acting like themselves. Because here's the thing. Like, even if you do manage to put on some airs and fake your way through something and get a woman interested in you by pretending to be something you're not, eventually she's going to catch the fuck on. You're way better off just putting forth who you really are in that initial meeting. In that initial date or hangout or whatever it is. You're way better off just being like, here's who I am, here's what I'm about. Don't like it? There's the fucking door. I think all people should conduct themselves like that. Because no one wants to get invested in someone and then just find out that the person they're invested in is some fucking construct that you made up in your mind designed to attract a specific kind of person. This fake it till you make it thing doesn't really work because eventually the mask will slip and they'll see like, oh, that's not who he really is. This is who he really is. And then you're fucked because there's nowhere to go from there. You should have learned that this incompatibility existed initially. Everyone would have been way happier. Honestly, at this point, I feel like these dudes could be doing a lot worse than listening to her and her advice. I don't feel like it's particularly harmful. It doesn't necessarily reflect my worldview, but it has internal consistency to its logic. And she's not mollycoddling these guys. She is prodding them to do better. She is prodding them to improve themselves. And I haven't seen anything on this channel thus far that makes me think that she is some kind of problem. And therefore, I'm going to move on. 1,000,000 times over, rather than be watching Billie Ray Brandt than Andrew Tate, from what I've seen. Maybe if I dug deeper into this catalog, I would find some truly heinous shit. I don't know. But I don't think that what she's saying is totally without value. I don't agree with all of it, but a lot of it seems at least reasonable. And I'm glad that someone is saying that stuff to these particular men.